final year that the Marlins will call this home. They will not shed a tear when they move down south to Miami. And there are Rockies fans in the house, plenty of them, in fact. That is great to see. Rockies have been doing very well on the road. Welcome back with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies have a Major League best 7-1 road record. Who would have thought that, huh?
Well, I think they changed things up a little bit. It was one of those things during spring training. They said, you know what, we need to go out and play better on the road. Well, they did it in Pittsburgh and New York. And now they're just going to try to carry it over here into Miami, where they haven't had success lately. But they changed things up a little bit. Had an off day yesterday down here instead of making it a travel day. So I think those little things are what you look for as a ball player and as an organization to see if we can do things just a little bit different than what we've done in the past. So far, it's worked out well.
Yeah, talked to a number of players, as you did, and they all really loved the idea that they came in, even though Wednesday was a late night, having the full day off Thursday, and hopefully it will reap rewards here in South Florida. Let's talk about our starting pitcher today for the Rockies. It'll be Yolis Chacin. He's been beautiful so far, 3-0. You can't beat that in a minuscule ERA.
Well, we know that Ubaldo's still the ace of this staff, but this young man, he's taken ace type of starts this year, 3-0 with an ERA of 1.64, and just what he's been able to do when he goes out there every single time, coming off a complete game against the Cubs, obviously was a good start for him. But this guy, really, his years don't do justice because he's so young, but he acts like a veteran guy, a guy that's been around for 6, 7, 8 years, and it's so much fun to just see a growth of a young pitcher.
He instills confidence at a very young age in everybody around him, and that's a wonderful thing as well. Rockies are ready to go as they open up this 6-game road trip in South Florida, Colorado, Florida. Come on back to the beach with us. Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Ford Mustang, the all-legend zero-compromise thrill machine. Ford Mustang, drive one. By the fast, reliable, secure, heavy-duty internet from Quest. And by Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. It is a beautiful day in South Florida. Yesterday was gorgeous as well. Not just clear skies, which is a little bit unusual because you typically get a late afternoon thunderstorm in Florida. But there's not high humidity, and the players, I'm sure, will appreciate that. Our Southwest.com starting lineup in batting order for the Rockies. Dexter Fowler up top. Then Johnny Herrera, Cargo, Tulowitzki, Helton, Smith, Ty Wigginton, Chris Iannetta, and Yolis Chassin. And Dexter Fowler will step in, leading the National League in doubles with 8. And the first pitch from Anibal Sanchez is high, ball 1. Sanchez last year went 13-12. It was the first season of his career, Jeff Houston, that he didn't battle a myriad of shoulder problems.
And that's what really robbed him once they got him from the Boston Red Sox. Just that he could never stay healthy and go out there and pitch close to 200 innings.
Rockies coming off a 10-2 win on Wednesday against the Giants, and the changeup is high. It's 3-1. Outfield shaded a little bit toward left center field. Infield straight up and swung on and missed. Dexter had a rough ball game on Wednesday. He hasn't had many of these, but he punched out 4 times on Wednesday.
Yeah, thank goodness for that dribbler down the line where he was able to get the base hit.
And that's ball 4. So Fowler draws a walk. And the Rockies hope to be in business early here in South Florida. A little bit more on Anibal Sanchez, who he shocked the baseball world in September of 2006 when he threw a no-hitter, and everybody's saying, who's this guy who just threw a no-no?
Right. Well, there's been a lot of hits this year because of 371 batting average against right-handers, hitting 400 off him this year. He's going to be fastball, slider, changeup, occasional curveball to righties. He will not throw a curveball to the lefties.
That's inside on Johnny Herrera, ball 1. Yeah, as you said, it's fastball, slider, changeup.
And it's not overpowering. That's the other thing. He's going to work somewhere in the neighborhood of 88 to 93 on his fastball. Sit at about 89, 90. Average is about 91.3 on that fastball. Slider will sit at 83, changeup at 85. Yard work over at first base for Dexter Fowler. They really watered the infield down extra because, as you mentioned, Drew, it's not as humid as it typically is, and you don't have to worry about any rain. So they later on in the summer they won't water it that much because they're afraid that they'll get that rain shower.
Dexter started to go. Ball gets away. Now he'll move up. That just wasn't held by John Buck, and the pitch was in. It's 2-0. So now the at-bat changes a little bit for Johnny Herrera.
Well, he can still bunt if he wants to or pull one to the right side, but this is what the speed will do because Buck just took a peek to think that Dexter was going to go, and he forgot to do the most important thing, and that was to catch the baseball.
Well, that's a great description. He left a little bit early and forgot to catch the baseball.
I'd still like Johnny to try to bunt it towards third.
That's a strike, 2-1.
And the reason I said that is because you got Bonifacio, who's not an everyday third baseman over there.
And he squared around early. He didn't get the bunt down, which is atypical of Herrera. 2-2. Johnny's one of the top 2-strike hitters you will see.
Just dropped the barrel just a little bit. See how he jabbed at it? And when he did that, just the barrel went below the hands.
And he does the job. He beats it on the ground to the right side, and he moves up Dexter Fowler. Boy, he is so valuable. So Fowler at third base with 1 out as we check the gloves for the Marlins. Scott Cousins is in left field. And keep in mind, Logan Morrison's on the disabled list. He was off to a terrific start. Chris Coughlin at center. Mike Stanton, you can't miss him. He's one of the biggest players in the game. And right, Bonifacio Ramirez. And at second base is Omar Infante. Gabby Sanchez at first. John Buck's behind the plate. It's a much improved infield defense. Dan Uggla is a great offensive player. He's an average defender. They're better with Omar Infante at second base. That was part of the trade to Atlanta for Infante. And they're bringing the infield in the first inning. I don't get this.
I'm really shocked at this.
Why on earth would you do this in the top of the first inning?
Obviously, you feel like your offense isn't going to be able to put many runs on the board tonight against Yolis. that's the only explanation you can have for the manager and Edwin Rodriguez to sit there and go, okay, go ahead and play on in, try to cut off that run.
Cargo was on that, fouled straight back. He's trying to find his groove. 0 for his last 8 at the plate. And despite the 257 average, which you know will be heading north, he's still driven in a dozen runs.
And I think that's the encouraging thing about it, is because you take away that 4-hit game he had last week, and the hits have been not like we're accustomed to seeing from Carlos.
And again, another pitch that's, you know, there's pitches, Huey, as you well know better than I would, that you go, okay, good, I fouled that one off. And then there are pitches you go, man, why did I foul that off?
How did I do that? Because this is a hanging changeup inside just a little bit, and that's when you're not going well. Obviously, that's going to happen. You're going to foul those pitches off. But at the big league level, sometimes you only get one pitch per at bat to do something with.
And he's had 2 in this at bat.
Exactly. And now he's got to try to find one that he can still hit to the outfield.
And he's gone on a slider out of the zone. So it'll be left to Tulowitzki with 2 outs. Anibal Sanchez has made just a couple of starts against the Rockies. Both have come here at Sun Life Stadium, and both times he pitched pretty effectively.
Yeah, 6 innings, 5 2/3. He's a guy that's going to throw a lot of pitches. It's just what's going to happen with him because he doesn't have the overpowering stuff.
Boy, what a missed opportunity, at least for Gonzalez. He had 2 good pitches to hit, and the infield's in.
And that's what you're looking for as a hitter. Get a pitch that was up to at least hit that sacrifice fly. But right now, those are the little things, the slight adjustments that Carlos needs to make, and he hasn't been able to do it.
1 ball, 1 strike.
It's just a timing issue.
Well, somebody's going to pay.
Oh, you know that.
That's there also, 1 and 2. Marlins leading the National League East with the Phillies at 11 and 6. The Rockies leading the West by 3 games. They're at 13 and 5. And a bouncing ball to third. Bonifacio will throw out. Oh, the ball was dropped at first base by Gabby Sanchez. The run scores. I can't believe that. The ball was in the air the whole way.
The first air of the year for Gabby Sanchez, and that was just a plain old drop. I thought maybe for a second the webbing in his glove might have broke, because that's how bad that ball looked coming out of his glove. Another look. 1 hopper to Bonifacio. Sets his feet, makes a strong throw. Nothing wrong there. He just flat out missed it.
Well, this looks more like the Marlins we've seen in years past, where they could outslug you, but they made a lot of errors.
Yeah, and that's one thing that they've really improved on this year, and you touched on it briefly, bringing in Infante instead of Dan Uggla. That certainly helped. They got Coughlin back in center field, and they've been more known as a pitching defense team this year.
So Todd Helton comes up with that gift from Gabby Sanchez, and that's a strike. Todd hitting .333 with a home run and 8 RBIs. Sanchez can't fall asleep on Tulowitzki. Not going here. Down and in. Who wants tacos? Fans, remember, if the Rockies score 7 or more runs during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies Taco Special. Feed your Rockies fever only at Taco Bell. Now, if we were in Philadelphia, there would have been a standing ovation.
Or New York.
Yeah, or New York. Gabby Sanchez has a pretty good reputation with the glove. It happens.
Yep.
He just flat didn't catch the baseball. Good for the Rockies. This ball's lined to left field, but it's got too much tail on it.
He doesn't need a glove.
No, nice play.
Come to the ballpark, don't bring a glove.
Wow,
no
just stabbed that thing with the left hand. Well done.
See, I got it. Sunglasses still on the head.
His wife was shocked. You see Hanley Ramirez come in after the error by Gabby Sanchez, and he spent a good 30 seconds talking to Annabelle Sanchez.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a leadership quality coming out for Hanley Ramirez, saying don't lose your focus here now. That wasn't your fault. We should be in the dugout, but you need to try to get this guy.
This is lined at third, and Bonifacio makes a catch. Todd got all of that. In the inning, the Rockies get a run. 1-0, they lead. Coughlin, the 2009 Rookie of the Year in the National League. He'll be first. He'll be followed by Omar Infante in the Southwest batting order for Edwin Rodriguez. Hanley Ramirez, a perennial all-star, will bat third. Then Gabby Sanchez, a University of Miami product. Big Mike Stanton. John Bunker comes down from Toronto. Scott Cousins, Emilio Bonifacio, and the pitcher Sanchez. Yolis Chassis making his 4th start of the year. And the fastball's off the plate at 94, ball 1. Chassis in his last outing, a 6-hit complete game shutout of the Chicago Cubs. This ball's hammered. We need a tie game. We do it. Well, it didn't take long for the Marlins to get the run back. They have been in a home run drought. They hit 3 yesterday in a 9-5 win over Pittsburgh, and Coughlin leads off with his 2nd of the year.
Yeah, including a grand slam yesterday. There was no doubt about this ball when he hit it, though. Set up down and away, and it was more just right down the middle of the plate, center cut. Coughlin with the finish. Ties it up in a hurry. 2nd pitch of the ball game.
They had only 8 home runs coming into yesterday's ball game, and this ball is going to elude Johnny Herrera, and Omar Infante has a base hit. Good numbers for Yolis. 3-0, 1.64 ERA.
He's really trying to match what Ubaldo did last April for the Rockies. Ubaldo last year was 3-0 with the 129. Ulysses has been out there, and I talked about it in our open, how he's taken big league starts and been really the ace of that staff with Ubaldo being out, just the numbers he's been able to put up.
Hanley Ramirez, we talk about a home run drought. He has not hit a home run this year. He hasn't hit a home run since early September of last year, a span of 91 at bats.
Well, you can wait until Monday when the Dodgers come into town before he.
That would be fine with us. Chacin's 3 pitches in, a home run and a single.
The single from Infante was right off the end of the bat. It wasn't like that one was squared up like the Coghlan home run.
Rockies have won only 3 series here since both teams came into the league in 1993.
Yeah, a couple walk-offs against them last year. Like New York, just one of those places that you just haven't played well.
And a ball and a strike on Hanley Ramirez. We talked about him visiting Anibal Sanchez on the mound. Those 2 guys came up in the Boston organization. They were part of the Josh Beckett, Mike Lowell trade several years ago.
That was back in November of '05.
It's off the plate, 2-1.
You know who else was in that deal? Guillermo Mota, who we just saw the other day with the Giants.
It's not the only deal Guillermo's been part of.
No. But that's some big league names, though.
Yeah.
When you're talking about Lowell, Beckett, Mota, Ramirez.
It's one of those trades that's worked out for both teams. That's down 3-1 now. Nobody out in the bottom of the first inning in a 1-1 ball game. Jim Tracy a little under the weather, sitting near Bob Apodaca.
Notice that nobody's sitting real close to him, though. They just don't want to get sick.
There's Tommy Runnels. See if Infante's moving. He's not. And it's swung on and missed. 3-2.
Yeah, I didn't think he would on a 3-1 count with Ramirez, who's been struggling a little bit. I think he'll be going on this pitch, though, so you take a chance and hopefully if you're the Rockies, you'll get to strike him out, throw him out. That was an overpowering fastball from Yolis. Just a big swing from Ramirez. But I'd send him here, try to stay out of the double play if I was Rodriguez.
He's going. Swung on and missed, and Iannetta would have had a chance at him. He lost the grip on the baseball. Omar's not a big base stealer. And the jump was average. Unfortunately for Chris, he couldn't pull it out of the glove.
Well, it was also on a slider, so it didn't set all that well in there, and he had to reach down for it by the dirt and pull it up, and that's what made him bobble it.
Defensively, the Rockies have Cargo in left, Fowler in center, Seth Smith in right, Wigginton and Tulowitzki left side, Herrera and Helton on the right side. Rockies with Iannetta behind the plate have made only 9 errors this year. This ball's lined to left, and it is a foul ball.
And a broken bat.
Well, broken bat. If you have a broken windshield, call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com. The cavernous Sun Life Stadium on their 6th name, and fortunately for the Marlins, their final season playing baseball in this football facility. 0-1 on Gabby Sanchez, and that's outside. 1-1. There are 3 Sanchez's if you're counting. 2 in the lineup. Gabby at first base, Annabelle on the mound, and Brian down in the bullpen, who just keeps throwing up zeros.
Spelled differently, the one down in the bullpen, though.
Yeah, he's got an S at the end of his name, opposed to a Z. 1-1. Changeup is down low. It's 2-1.
I see a lot of movement so far on the ball from Yolis with that changeup and the hard slider. A little bit different air down here than we have back home in Colorado. Get a better grip on those, on the seams of the baseball.
Good pitch. Ooh. I'm shocked he didn't swing at it, and I thought it may have still been in the strike zone. See if it's in the Ford strike zone.
I think it just goes just off of it. No, it does catch it.
C.B. Buckner didn't buy it.
And maybe by the way Sanchez took that pitch made it think that it was further away than what it was.
Ooh. Chris Iannetta took the brunt of that. Tell you what, that day off in the warm weather has Yolis feeling frisky, because that last fastball's at 95, which is usually, it's about a couple ticks above where we typically see him top out.
Well, yeah, and it worked right about 91, 92, 93 in that range. But that's what makes the slider that much more difficult to hit, especially for a righty when you're facing a guy that's throwing 95 and then an 82 mile an hour slider.
He struck out Ramirez on a 3-2 slider. Let's see if he follows the same pattern here. Yep.
Oh.
He got him. That was more of a curveball.
That's one of the few times we've seen you at least break out the curveball. And just watch Sanchez as he buckles just for a second. He doesn't want to be in there. He buckles and then he still swings.
Tell you something interesting. We've talked a lot about the key with Yolis Chassin is fastball command. And though he throws strikes with his fastball a little bit below the league average, with his off-speed stuff, his secondary stuff, he's way above the league average in throwing strikes. 71% of the time his off-speed stuff is in there. That had a little cut to it. And Big Mike Stanton swings and misses.
But that's what makes those pitches so good, though, because he gets a lot of strikes with those, because if the fastball is setting it up, those are tough pitches to see for the righties especially, but then the lefties will get the changeup.
Breaking ball, chop foul, and it's 0-2. Omar Infante at second. This kid's still a puppy. He's 21. He's 6'6" and around 250 pounds.
And he just hasn't hit his stride. He missed a lot of time during spring training with some hamstring, leg issues, and still trying to work his swing back into shape.
The 0-2, and he swings at a slider he couldn't have hit, as George would say with a boat paddle. A run for the Marlins on a leadoff home run from that man, Chris Coghlan. We'll go to the second. Of two. Let's check in with Mark Stout. Mark, what's cooking?
Hey, Drew and Jeff, got a few Rockies fans here. They're transplants now living here, but I wanted to talk about maybe the most anonymous manager in baseball, Edwin Rodriguez of the Marlins. Took over this team last June when Freddie Gonzalez was let go. They went 46-46 from then on, and you see a few numbers about Rodriguez. He had a brief career in the majors with the Yankees and the Padres. Interesting, led off the game in late September of 1982, got his first hit in the big leagues in a game that George Frazier saved for the Yankees. Yes, our own George Frazier. He's got the nickname El Gallo, the Rooster, because he was a little bit of a hot-headed player back in the day, but he says he's mellowed out now. And he's a bright guy, an accounting major, also has his own website, El Dirigentes, and I'm not saying that right, but it's the manager in Spanish. He built the website himself, so he's got a lot going on here, and he is running the Marlins, the first Puerto Rican manager in the big leagues. Guys?
Yeah, a little bit more. Thank you, Mark. A little bit more on Rodriguez. He's, he's a baseball lifer, as so many managers are. And he's a guy that's well acquainted with the Marlins. 9 years in their organization. He was their AAA manager when he was asked to come and be the interim manager last year. And they went 46-46 with him at the helm. Strike three on the inside corner. And Seth Smith is gone.
Try to stand up the left-hander with the fastball. It goes back over the inside part of the plate. It was a strike. It's not on the forward strike zone. But get back to Rodriguez just for a moment. That really helps when you have the third youngest team in all of baseball to be able to have a guy that's had some of these players down in the minor leagues. Basically, they kind of all came up together. And now it's Rodriguez's turn to learn up here at the big league level and help manage these guys.
Ty Wigginton pops it up. Hanley Ramirez has both hands up. And he makes the catch, 2 outs. One thing about the Florida Marlins, and it seems like we say this every year, Huey, people dismiss them. In the East, it's easier to talk about the Phillies, certainly the last few years. And a couple of years ago, you talk a little bit about the Mets. More recently, again, Atlanta has become relevant among teams at the top of the division. The Marlins always an afterthought, and then August rolls around and they're in the playoff picture.
Every single year it's the same thing. And I think what's going to happen too is they're going to peak almost at the right time with their players, the way they're playing when they move into the new ballpark next year. So all of a sudden you've got a good young nucleus of players. You've got a brand new stadium. I think that will help. They just don't draw here. So all of a sudden you don't draw. Well, nobody's really talking about them.
1-2-3 inning for Anibal Sanchez in the second as he gets Chris Ionnet on a comebacker. John Buckle lead off for the Marlins against Chacín. Goodman, Jeff Hewson, and Mark Stout from Sun Life Stadium in North Miami or South Fort Lauderdale, whichever you prefer. Rockies fans in abundance tonight. Good seats, as always, in abundance as well here at Sun Life Stadium for the Marlins. John Buck will lead it off. And the fastball's fouled off. Buck, an all-star last year with the Toronto Blue Jays, former Kansas City Royal. Buck last year hit 20 home runs for the Blue Jays, and he signed as a free agent a 3-year deal to catch for the Marlins.
Well, we finally have some stability now behind the plate with Buck.
3-year, $18 million deal, which matches the deal that they gave Paul LaDuca several years back.
And they've just been impressed with Buck, not only offensively, but what he's been able to do handling the pitching staff. And you talk to any manager, they say that's where you first need to earn your trade, and then you worry about the hitting later. I think Cowboys going to like that. This kid's born in Kimmerer, Wyoming.
Oh, you know, he's another.
I had to get it in there.
He's another good old hand from Kimmerer. Right, Cowboy? Jerry Buss from Kimmerer, Wyoming, the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. Cowboy, you're going to have to write that for me. I'm turning around, and once again, I don't understand your Wyoming English.
He's writing slow.
He's right. Oh, the original J.C. Penney stores in Kimmerer, Wyoming as well. We thought it was just a little dot on the map.
Yep.
No, we have a lot of fans up that way. I know we do. That pitch misses, and another full count. 3-2 on John Buck. Buck actually grew up in Salt Lake City, makes his home in Salt Lake City now, but
he's always, he's always a Cowboy at heart, though.
Yep. And he missed with that slider, and he looks off in disgust. So a leadoff walk to Buck. Yoli Chacin, in 2 of his 3 starts, has thrown shutout baseball, Jeff.
Well, and you could even take it back a little bit further if you wanted to, back into August of last year. In his last 12 starts, 7-3 with a 1.99 ERA. So it's not like all of a sudden at 3 wins and what he's been able to do ERA-wise is shocking, because it's been over a longer stretch now. There's only been a couple guys that have a better number since then, Clayton Kershaw and Roy Oswald.
Boy, that pitch looked like it was on the corner. Evidently it was off. Scott Cousins, 26-year-old rookie, takes it for ball 1, and on the 4th strike zone, it indeed was off the plate. Cousins, a grand slam yesterday, his first career home run, a grand slam. And the Marlins have had 7 players hit their first career home run and have it be a grand slam. I was kind of shocked by that.
I was, but there was no doubt about that swing, especially right center field here.
This is a big ballpark.
Down the lines, and then from left center over to the left field line, it's a little bit shorter, but center field, right center field, long, long way.
Off the plate. 2-1.
Yeah, is 434 a long way?
Unless you're Mike Stanton.
In this heavy air, too? What do we get? Humidity's 52% tonight. That's rather low.
It's really low. Two and 2. Cousins last year played at AAA New Orleans. Former 3rd-round pick of the Marlins in 2006 out of the University of San Francisco. And a lot of teams were thinking about drafting him as a pitcher. So I'm glad the Marlins took me, because I wanted to play every day. This is a ground ball to Helton. Chance for 2. There's 1. Return throw is not in time. take a look at diamond details tonight. Sun Life Stadium, and Huey was just talking about it. Now it's 404 straight away, but the power alleys become extreme, and then you have an area of the ballpark that Jeff was describing where it goes out to 434, and if it gets over somebody's head, typically you're not going to see many triples on the left side, but you could get one there.
Yeah, somehow you get that line drive maybe that goes over the center fielder's head, or he comes in and tries to dive for it and it gets by him.
Diamond details brought to you by ePay Data. Business owners, get more details on how you can save on your credit card processing. Visit epaydata.com. Here's Bonifacio. You got to move quick with him. He can fly.
Very difficult guy to double up. Especially from the left side, a little bit faster out of the box, that one step closer. Problem with Bonifacio is he really could never hit enough to be an everyday player.
He's versatile. He plays a lot of positions. In fact, he played 3 in one game the other day. He's played 4 different spots already in 2011. Former Arizona Diamondback and briefly a Washington National. Two and out. And this is popped up, foul ground, and Helton's not going to have a play. Rockies fans, Root Sports is hosting a viewing party this Saturday at 5 in Denver. Come on down and cheer on your Rockies as they take on these Florida Marlins. That's tomorrow. Be a part of the broadcast on our live webcam. Visit the For Fans Only section of our website. The website's RockyMountain.rootsports.com. RockyMountain.rootsports.com, and you get all the information there. That should be a fun time. Root Sports viewing party for tomorrow's ball game. And that misses. 3-1.
Well, the only pitch that's been a strike is the one he did foul off over the first base dugout. Just a second ago, Cousins bluffed like he was going to take off. I think he'll go on this pitch.
This ball's crushed to center field. Dexter trying to catch up, cannot, and it's a ground rule double, and the Rockies get an enormous break. Rockies get an enormous break because that is a triple and an RBI for Bonifacio if it doesn't hop over the wall.
Well, and possibly an inside the park home run the way he runs. If something happens, it goes rattling around just a little bit. Well, this has been a ball that was down and away from Bonifacio a little bit, and I can't remember the last time I've seen Bonifacio hit a ball this far and that hard before. He's more of a guy that will try to slap it on the ground and outrun it. But he hit off the warning track out there, and as you mentioned, Drew, that was a big break for the Rockies. And now the pitcher's coming up, and you still only have one out, so you can play the infield in.
Yeah, I mean, Bonifacio hit that as far as he can hit it.
Decided to go ahead and move back and hopefully get the strikeout.
Slider to begin with on Anibal Sanchez, and Chacin misfired badly there. It's 1-0.
Chris called for it, so he's got to be able to get over there and block it, and he did. That thing had some reverse spin on it where it kind of backed up just a little bit, but he slides over there, drops to his knees, and gets it.
And now it's 2-0 on Sanchez.
Well, a lot of movement so far on the ball from Yolis, but not good type of movement.
Well, because not in the strike zone.
And that was my point, is it's moving, but it's moving too much and it's going out of the zone. And Sanchez, an .073 hitter throughout his career, just 11 hits and 150 at bats. Squeeze.
2-1. And the flip to the plate's in time.
He dropped it.
He dropped the baseball. Great play by Chacin. He flipped it to Iannetta, and it was there in plenty of time. Chris couldn't squeeze it. It's 2-1 Florida.
And Yolis just got it in his glove and flipped it out of there. He didn't worry about the transfer. The timing was perfect from the Marlins' point of view. Chris just dropped it. One more look at it here. Yolis comes in, flips it. Now I take that back. That ball did hit the ground.
Yeah, we couldn't tell on the front angle. You're right. It never.
Yeah, that was just a bad flip. If he gets it up where Chris has a chance to get it and apply the tag, then he's out. Yeah, from that front angle, the first one looked like he just dropped it.
First and third for Chris Coghlan. That's in there. Coghlan took Chacin deep on the second pitch he saw to right field to tie up the ball game at 1. And this isn't hit hard enough to turn 2. Another run comes home, 3-1. Reminder, coming up later on in the evening, Toyota Talk. Text your thoughts and comments to Toyota, followed by, well, first text Toyota, followed by a space, and then those comments to 720-720. We'll do it every night, do it all season long. Toyota Talk, do it in the post-game show as well. Omar Infante at the plate. Well, it hasn't been a tidy game either way so far tonight. Of course, the Marlins had a drop ball at first, allowing the Rockies to score in the first inning.
And then the leadoff walk set up this inning.
We had a light hitting 8-hole hitter hit a ball 400 feet. And then a chance to get the out on the squeeze, on the suicide squeeze at the plate with a good flip. Scored a sacrifice fielder's choice RBI. And it's 3-0 now on Infante with Hanley Ramirez on deck. So now you're talking about a lot of pitches thrown in this inning. It's up to 44 in 2 innings of work for Chacin.
And the other thing, too, is it's split 50-50, 22 and 22 as far as balls and strikes.
That's in there. Two runs and 1 hit in the inning.
Yeah, and we've seen Rodriguez already be aggressive with sending guys 3-1. We've seen a squeeze already in today's game, so kind of gives you an idea of how he manages on a team that's not scoring a lot of runs so far in the year.
There goes the runner, and it's bounced foul. Joey Espada, the third base coach, flips it into the crowd. If you look at Edwin Rodriguez. Mark Stout told you, played played for 2 teams in the big leagues, but he got only 22 at bats, 5 hits, but he got there.
He got there. You can always say he made it.
And the 3-2 is high, ball 4. Ramirez is going to hit with 2 men on. Caution flags everywhere right now for Yoeli Chacín, because the Rockies, in the 2 most recent losses, both to the Giants, they got themselves out of the game very early in the first inning. And if you let Ramirez run into one here, you may be looking at a much larger deficit than 2 runs.
Well, and then it just limits you and handcuffs you if you're Jim Tracy as far as what you can do. You can't bunt guys over. You can't really think about if a guy's at second base, so I got to get him over to let the next guy get him in. Play hit and run, do any of that. You can't steal bases, so you can't fall behind. You have to get Ramirez here. Hey, fans traveling, subscribe to MLB.tv to see every Rockies game on your computer. You can order it at ColoradoRockies.com.
Hanley Ramirez was a strikeout victim in the first inning. 7th man to hit here in the second inning. The Marlins up 3-1.
Well, in yesterday's ball game, the Marlins sent 10 guys to the plate in the second inning. It's the 3rd straight game where they've had an inning where at least 10 guys went to the plate.
Line drive at Tulowitzki. And it's not going to change, Hanley. He couldn't hit it any better, but right at Troy Tulowitzki. Marlins get a couple. 3-1 they lead. Find E470 on Facebook for details on how to win free tolls. 3-game set down here in South Florida against the Marlins. Rockies turn things around in New York, trying to do the same thing in Florida, a place they have not played well. Then it's off to Chicago for 3. The Rockies in the midst of a 2-week stretch where they'll play 12 of 15 out on the road. The only 3 they'll play at home against the Pirates next week. Quickly 0-2 on Chacín, leading off here in the 3rd. Rockies got a run in the first, kind of a gift run. Dexter Fowler, a leadoff walk, went to second on a pass ball. Johnny Herrera moved him to 3rd. And then Cargo struck out. Tulowitzki hit a 1-hopper to 3rd. Should have been the end of the inning. Bonifacio made a throw to first. Gabby Sanchez didn't catch the baseball. That's how Dexter scored. So 1 out. Here comes Fowler again.
And fans, just a reminder on Wednesday's ball game in Chicago. It's one we picked up. We'll be on the air at 11:30 that day with our pregame show, and first pitch will follow afterwards at 12:20 Mountain Standard Time.
That's a ball on Dexter. off the plate 2-0. See if the Rockies can do a little damage here second time through. They're without a hit in the game.
Just a little too big of a swing from Dexter on a 2-0, the pitch that's up. Might have been a strike if he would have hit his location, though. I mean,
CB's got a pretty small zone tonight, both ways.
Yeah, but where Buck set up, he wasn't going to call it a strike.
And that pitch again, a borderline pitch, and it's called a ball. So Dexter has walked twice in the game. Here comes Johnny Herrera. Geico quote of the day. This from Hanley Ramirez. Let me tell you, before I signed, I didn't know they paid you for playing baseball. I played it because I love it. It was incredible when they told me they were going to sign me and they were going to give me money. You know, that quote now is attributed to Hanley Ramirez, but it actually goes back to Jeff Houston when he graduated from the University of Wyoming. I thought you were the first to say that.
Well, I did, but they didn't give me as much money as they gave Hanley Ramirez, okay? He was a better player than I ever thought I could be.
Johnny Herrera, you know, there's been a lot of guys truly through the years that probably have uttered the same words. Ball one on Johnny. Tried to bunt on a 2-1 pitch once. Dexter had moved to second, and he fouled that off, and then he did a great job pulling the baseball to the first baseman Sanchez to move Dexter to third.
We might even see a hit and run with Jonathan because he can handle the bat so well.
And right now, the way Sanchez has just been off a little bit, in this count, would you do it?
I still would, just with Johnny. Because even if he fouls it off, so what for him? I wouldn't do with some other guys when Sanchez is scattering the strike zone.
It's 2-0. Anibal Sanchez had shoulder surgery in 2007. He had shoulder surgery again in 2008. The year he threw his no-hitter, he went 10-3 back in 2006 with a 2.83 ERA in 17 starts. 2-1. You wonder if these two have seen each other in winter ball. Both are from Venezuela. Johnny Herrera, Anibal Sanchez.
I guarantee you they have. A lot of guys go down there to get ready for spring training. Sanchez in his career just a tick above 500, 31-30.
But a real good ERA.
Yeah.
2-1 on Johnny. And there goes Dexter back up the middle, and it's going to turn into a double play. Johnny hit it the only place they were going to turn to. Ramirez breaking for the bag, says thank you very much. The Marlins right now leading 3-1. The Rockies without a hit as we go to the bottom of the third inning. Looking for a quick and efficient inning is Yoeli Chacín. Gabby Sanchez, the cleanup hitter. And this ball is long gone if it's fair. Home run number 2 for Sanchez.
He said, I'm not going to wait around for that breaking pitch that he struck me out on last time. First fastball I see, I'm going to jump on it. And that's exactly what he did. Boy, just too many missed locations tonight for Yoeli.
And a breaking ball for a strike to Stanton.
Well, Chris was set up outside, and that was inside, just above the belt. There was no doubt about that one. Another catch by a fan out there without a glove.
And Stanton is retired, 1 out. Well, it's on schedule. The new ballpark in the Little Havana area of Miami, closer to downtown, far closer to downtown. It's not too far from the airport. And in less than a year, the Marlins will move in. Yes, it has a retractable roof, not only because of the late afternoon showers, but also because of the heat in the summer. And so they figure that maybe even 3/4 of the time the roof could be closed to keep the patrons cool.
Yeah, but the other thing too is you know what time the game's going to start. You know that there's not going to be rain delays in the middle of it. I think that's part of the problem that they have here is people just say, you know what, I don't want to go because I don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to rain? Is it not? Am I going to have to sit there for a while? And this is also a football stadium.
Here's Jeffrey Loria, who's the owner of the Florida Marlins. And you know he's ecstatic about having a new facility. They just have not drawn here, and it's not only because it's not a baseball stadium, it's out of the way, I think, for a lot of folks. And then there's no shade. There's nowhere to sit and stay cool. In the air to center field. Dexter waiting, and that's the second out as John Buck is retired. Scott Cousins will come up. Yeah, sometimes a pitcher and hitters too. You have an 0 for 4 bad night at the plate, punch out a couple times. You have to move on. Baseball players learn that at a very early part of their career. And sometimes within a game for a starting pitcher, you got to go, okay, I'm going to forget everything that's happened. I'm going to make it 0-0, and I'm going to try to win the game the rest of the way and hope my offense picks me up.
You know, I always try to tell kids or people, you know what? There's nothing what you can do about the past. You can't do anything about how this game started for you if you're Yoeli in the first or second inning. And even in this inning, you've got to try to move forward and go out there and pitch the best of your ability. Same thing offensively. You know what? There's nothing you can do about your first at bat or your first couple at bats. Finish on a high note, though.
Ball and a strike on Scott Cousins. And that slider he swung through. And again, that pitch was elevated, wasn't it?
And I've already said it once, and it bears repeating, though, that too many missed locations. Chris has to reach back for that one. We saw the home run off of Gabby Sanchez reaching back inside part of the plate.
Strike 3 on the outside corner. Cousins knew it. In the inning, Gabby Sanchez hits a long home run to left, and the Marlins increase their lead to 4-1. Fast Cash Sideline Report brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Mark?
All right, guys, love this area here at the ballpark, right over the Rockies bullpen. Let's talk a little bit more about Hanley Ramirez and Troy Tulowitzki, two of the best shortstops in the game. You guys mentioned that Ramirez came up with the Boston Red Sox. They signed him when he was 16. And, of course, Troy Tulowitzki, a little bit after that, drafted #1 by the Rockies. One thing that Hanley Ramirez doesn't have is a gold glove, and Troy Tulowitzki does. Hanley's played about 200 more games in the big leagues, and if you look at their numbers offensively, they'd be about even if Troy Tulowitzki had that many games. But when it comes to defense, Troy #1 fielding shortstop in the history of the game, and Ramirez ranks 92nd. Guys?
Well, two great talents, no question. They say Hanley is grown up a little bit. The thing last year, early in the season, where he was reprimanded, didn't apologize initially. I was talking to Wes Helms. This ball's ripped down the line. It's foul. 2-2. Wes Helms was the unquestioned leader of the Florida Marlins. And he was saying, you know what, Hanley has grown up.
Well, it's nice when you can have a veteran guy like Wes Helms also there to help mentor the young player as well. You know, Hanley's been playing long enough now. He understands how this game works.
Sanchez reaches back. There's a 94 mile an hour fastball. A lot of movement on it, but it was up. 3-2 on Cargo, leading off here in the fourth. Rockies trailing by 3 runs. Calls for a changeup. And he got him to chase. Second time Cargo has struck out in the ball game. That'll bring up Tulowitzki. And we asked Troy earlier in the day about Hanley Ramirez.
I think he's a 5-tool guy. He can beat you in a number of ways. Power. He can steal base when needed. He obviously hits for a high average. His defense can be real good at times. But he's probably talent-wise up there with some of the best in the game.
And Troy hits a little flare that's going to be handled by the second baseman, Omar Infante. 2 outs. Well, Hanley Ramirez, we also put a microphone in front of and asked him about Troy Tulowitzki.
He's a pretty good player, man. He play hard, and you get motivation when you see guys like him play the game. You just you want to do the same thing.
Yeah, he is a pretty good player.
Yeah,
really,
mutually high respect.
Yeah, the difference between the two, I think, goes more with the speed of Ramirez to what Troy has, but Troy's a much better defender than Ramirez. And Troy can go to his right for sure better than Hanley, hands down.
Todd chops it foul. And the other thing, you're talking about physical tools, but what you have to factor in, based on some of the things, some of the issues at times with Hanley Ramirez, Troy is a better leader right now. And that's not to say that Hanley, as he grows up, doesn't become more of a clubhouse factor. But right now, Troy Tulowitzki in the leadership department has it over Hanley Ramirez. This is in the air to left field. An easy play for Scott Cousins. And Anibal Sanchez has not allowed a hit through 4 innings. 4-1 Marlins. Emilio Bonifacio, Anibal Sanchez, Chris Coghlan representing the top of the order, and the fastball at the knees for a strike to Bonifacio, who hit a ground rule double in the second inning and eventually would come around to score. Changeup is wide of the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chacín has given up a couple home runs tonight. 1 to Coghlan, 1 to Gabby Sanchez. He's only allowed 13 home runs in his big league career. Tonight his 26th major league start. 9 of those home runs at Coors Field. 2 now at Sun Life. 1 at Great American Ballpark, which is going to relinquish some home runs, and 1 at in Anaheim at the Big A, your old stomping grounds.
Hadn't allowed any this year.
One ball, 2 strikes on Bonifacio. Marlins are hot. They've won 6 of 7, including the sweep of the Pirates.
And they shut out the Pirates a couple times.
There's Edwin Rodriguez, and he said coming into this series, he said this will, I'm paraphrasing now, basically be a very good barometer of where we are. He said I look at the Phillies, the Braves, and the Rockies. That way they're gonna test just how good you are. A couple of changes for Edwin Rodriguez on his staff and some holdovers. Got Brandon Hyde next to him on the bench. Randy St. Clair's been here as a pitching coach. John Maley's the hitting coach. Joey Espada and Perry Hill. Perry Hill you rave about. Reed Cornelius is down in the bullpen.
Yeah, it's a nice staff that he's brought together, and a lot of guys that have come up through the minor leagues too. Perry Hill is the guy that really has brought a lot of the defense back. I had Perry a long time ago with the Texas Rangers. To me, he's the best infield instructor in the game.
2-2 on Bonifacio, and this is up the middle. You got to hurry, and Johnny couldn't get anything on the throw. Bonifacio has a leg hit. He couldn't get it out of his glove initially.
Well, when you know a guy can get down the line like Bonifacio, you're going to your right. You're thinking in your mind, I've got to get this ball and I've got to get rid of it. And once it got by, Yoli said, no, this is going to be trouble, and it was. Johnny tried to make the transition, the jump throw, and even if he gets it cleanly and makes the throw the way Bonifacio runs, I don't think they get him at first base. But now you've just set up the sacrifice.
0-1 as Anibal Sanchez fouls it off. Toyota Talk, text Toyota followed by a space, and then your thoughts and questions to 720-720. We'll do that in the 6th inning. We'll do it during the Toyota postgame show as well. Rockies, a 7-1 road mark. It is the best road mark in baseball. But they're going to be tested the next couple of weeks. 12 of their next 15 away from Coors Field. Pitch out, runner going, throw to second, and out at second base. I thought, Huey, they may try to do that with the pitcher up there in Bonifacio. 3-run lead, great speed. You get him to second, then you bunt him to third.
More importantly, Tom Reynolds thought along with you, okay? Because he didn't have time to ask you what you thought, but that was a good call either way to get the pitch out. Strong throw from Chris Iannetta to get Bonifacio.
I mean, Rodriguez, similar to Jim Tracy, I mean, he's an aggressive guy.
Well, and he's got the lead, too. And he's got his pitcher out on the mound that has a no-hitter through 4 innings. So why not try to push the envelope a little bit?
Yeah, that's a great call by Tommy Reynolds. And you still have to execute it. And one of the things about, pitcher still has to, on a pitch out, he can't lob it. He's got to get it there quickly.
There's so many things that a pitcher sometimes give it away on a pitch out because they change their delivery. They speed everything up so quickly, and you can just read their body language. But that was the same. He didn't know it was a pitch out until they did it.
Well, Chacin just walked Anibal Sanchez, so that's not good. Let's look again at the pitch out.
See how he held it, though, for about a second and a half? And then the throw right on the money, that's an easy tag from Troy. How many times have we seen a pitcher on a pitch out, grab the ball, come set for about a blink of an eye, and then throw home?
Spoken like a true former base stealer. Chacin just battling tonight. That's all he's doing. That pitch missed. You get the pitch out, and Ionetta throw to Tulowitzki to gun down Bonifacio. You got Sanchez with 2 strikes. You get rid of him. You have 2 outs, nobody out, and this guy at the plate. Instead, you end up walking Anibal Sanchez, and that's in there 1-1.
And Sanchez, a guy that, as I mentioned earlier, hit no 73 for his career. You've got to be able to throw a strike and at least let him put the ball in play if he can even do that. Those are the type of things that just drive a manager crazy, though, and fans. Walking the pitcher.
Especially, as you were pointing out, a pitcher who really struggles at the plate. I mean, there's some pitchers, you know, most of them aren't good hitters, but there's some that, hey, listen, if you give them a pitch to hit, they may drive it in a gap, they may throw out a base hit here and there. In Sanchez's career, he rarely does that.
Right, only 11 hits in his big league career. So you can throw a fastball, challenge him there.
I mean, chances are in that 3-2 pitch, he wasn't going to swing no matter what.
Nope.
He could put it on C.B. Buckner.
But now the problem you have, too, though, is if you don't get a double play off the bat at Coghlan, now all of a sudden you've probably thrown at least 6, 7, 8 more pitches if you don't get the double play.
He's at 77 pitches right now in the 4th. And that's poked to left field for a base hit. And now you're getting to the thick part of the lineup. Rockies right now are battling to stay in touch in this baseball game. They're down by 3 runs. They don't have a hit. And you have 2 on and 1 out in Omar Infante, who can really handle the bat at the plate.
Well, those 2 gentlemen right now are talking it over. You know, should we get somebody up? Maybe Clayton Mortensen, who's back in play now. So they actually have an extra guy down in the bullpen, and they're going with 1 man short on the bench.
A hit and a walk for Infante. That misses, ball 1. There have been a lot of 1-0 counts.
This is one of the few times that we've seen Yolis just really struggle as far as just throwing strikes in his career here, in his short career at the big league level.
He has not gotten the leadoff hitter out yet in this game. The leadoff hitter has reached 4 times in this game, including a leadoff home run in the 1st by Chris Coghlan. Yet coming into the game, he had gotten the first hitter out 77% of the time, which is better than the league norm of 67%. And by contrast, Anibal Sanchez had really struggled in that regard. He was down in the 53% area, where almost half the leadoff guys were getting on in his first 3 starts.
And Sanchez, the only leadoff guy to get on was Dexter Fowler to lead off the ball game.
This is a fair ball, only 1 play for Wigginton, and that's the 1st. And now 2 more in scoring position with 2 outs for Hanley Ramirez. So that's the AT&T trivia question. Who threw the first no-hitter in Marlins history? Folks, they have 4 of them. The Mets and the Padres, the only 2 teams to have never thrown a no-hitter. Mets and Padres have been around since the 60s. What, 63 for the Mets and 69? 60, what is it, Cowboy? 68 for the Padres? 69 for the Padres. No no-hitters. And the Marlins have been around since 93, and they've hurled 4 of them. Ramirez, a strikeout and a bullet to short. And it was caught by Tulowitzki. Chacín's got to get Hanley Ramirez here. Rockies already down 4-1. I'm just guessing, but I would bet that Chacín is throwing less than 50% fastballs in this game.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is even those fastballs, maybe even 50% of the fastballs that he's thrown have been for strikes.
Which is obviously too low a percentage. He threw a heater there. It's in 2-1.
He's also due up fourth next inning. Franklin Morales is still tossing down in the bullpen for the Rockies.
Two-one, shattered bat. Herrera will get there. And no damage done in the fourth inning. 2 left in scoring position. Marlins leading by 3. On Root Sports is brought to you by your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By McDonald's, quench your late night thirst at McDonald's, where any size drink or tea is just $1. By the Colorado Lottery, don't forget to play. And by Jack in the Box. Right now, get the All-American Jack Combo for only $4.99 plus tax. Sun Life Stadium in South Florida, the Rockies trailing 4-1 to the Marlins. They will have Seth Smith, Ty Wigginton, and Chris Iannetta. Earlier during batting practice, the Rockies had a different guy throwing BP the first couple of rounds. Dante Bichette made his way down with his wife from the Orlando area. Dante was at fantasy camp this year, and it's always good when you keep the legendary figures close.
It's nice to see him. Still looks like he's in pretty good shape. Could probably hit a ball a country mile still.
Yeah, he is still big and strong. And Dante has one of the top prospects among high school players that's eligible for the draft, Dante Jr. And then he has a 13-year-old son who I've seen play, who's a heck of a young player. In fact, Dante was showing us on his, the bicep area, he had an enormous black and blue mark. That's a strike, changeup. Whereas 13-year-old had drilled him in batting practice.
I told him to get behind the L screen next time.
That's why it's there, right?
That's right. That thing was nasty. His older boy is signed to go play at Georgia. But I think that might be changing, though, once the draft comes around. June 4th this year, the draft? June 4th, June 6th.
Dante Jr. is like his dad. He can hit the ball far. He has top shelf power, especially for an 18-year-old kid. This ball lined right at the first baseman, Gabby Sanchez. The Rockies still without a hit with 1 out in the 5th inning. Ty Wigginton coming up. Let's take a look at our Quest high-speed pitch, brought to you by the fast, reliable, secure, heavy-duty internet from Quest. Chassin touched 95. Sanchez at 92. Strike on Wigginton. He popped to short his initial at bat. Wigginton picked up his 1,000th career hit on Wednesday, and he did it in dramatic style off Matt Cain, a 3-run home run. As the Rockies eventually knock Cain off the hill in the 5th inning on their way to a 10-2 lopsided win, salvaging 1 of 3 against the Giants.
And drove in another run later on, 4 RBIs on the day.
This ball's well hit to right, but Mike Stanton is there. That'll bring up Chris Iannetta with 2 outs.
Quick note from the Cowboy: the draft this year is June 6th through the 8th.
And it's supposed to be a pretty good draft, talent-wise. That's a strike.
There's supposed to be a lot of good position players in this draft. Well, fans, if you want a neat experience, upgrade your game experience to the Mountain Ranch Club. This includes credit for food and beverage. Pretty neat, that Mountain Ranch Club. Nice view of the stadium.
One and 2 on Chris. Dexter's reached twice on 2 walks. Tulowitzki reached on an error. That's it. Nothing offensively in the 5th for the Rockies. 7 in a row set down by Anibal Sanchez. To throw a no-hitter. Well, he's now a colleague. On the television side, Al Leiter with that great cutter. No hit the Rockies May 11th, 1996. Gabby Sanchez leading off in the 5th. He had a home run in the 3rd inning, also a strikeout. Marlins' first no-hitter belongs to Leiter. That's from the press box, the Miami Herald. Helton has it, 1 gone. That's the first time tonight the leadoff hitter's been retired by Yoeli Chacin. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. Leiter threw 1.
Right.
Annabelle Sanchez, A.J. Burnett.
That was the next one.
And then Kevin Brown.
There you go.
Now, this guy's going to throw 1. That's Josh Johnson. He's almost thrown 2 this year. He's taken no-hitters into the 7th inning twice this year, and the Rockies have to face him on Sunday.
Man,
he almost as a team, Huey, any team comes in and if you see, all right, Johnson's on the board facing you, say, all right, a lot of pressure to win the other ball games. Well, it's going to be tough to beat this guy.
Yeah, and we were even looking in the middle of last week, you know, Monday, Tuesday, thinking, oh, when is Johnson going to be throwing? Are we going to miss him? Well, that's the type of stuff he has.
Mike Stanton with a base hit to right. 1 out.
You got a ball going for the Rockies on Sunday, so pretty good pitching matchup.
John Buck coming up at Root Sports. We are fortunate enough to be with the club day in and day out. Let's keep you up to date by texting alerts to 720-720. Stay connected this season with Root Sports. Buck tonight, a walk and a fly ball to center field. Stanton's a good athlete at first base, but he had a quad injury that limited him to 6 big league spring games. And then on opening day, after 2 at-bats, he had to pull himself out with a hamstring pull, and he missed a week. This is in the air to Dexter Fowler in center. Take a look at our Coors Light freeze cam. The squeeze was on, and Chacin did everything right except he couldn't elevate the ball high enough to Chris Iannetta. They would have had Coughlin at the plate, or excuse me, they would have had the runner at the plate, Scott Cousins, but the ball was in the dirt, and Chris, in his haste to make the tag, never really had the baseball. Here's Scott Cousins now with 2 outs. And a ground ball to second.
Ball came up a little bit on Johnny.
Soft hands, though, right? We'll go to the 6th inning. Chacin, perhaps, then Fowler and Herrera.
top 6. I am with the Matt Lindstrom fan club here. John's going to be the ringleader. I saw 5 Lindstrom jerseys. We're above the Rockies bullpen. How did that all happen, John? Give me the story.
A couple years ago when Lindstrom came to the team, when the Marlins shuffle through players, we always like to root for the guy that nobody knows about, because everybody's a Hanley fan, everybody jumps on the Hanley bandwagon and stuff like that. But we just started rooting for Lindstrom, and he was a cool guy, and he was cool with us, and, we'd come to the games, root for him to warm up, and we'd harass the other Marlin players when they would warm up in the bullpen, and, we'd start chanting, "You're not Lindstrom," stuff like that.
So these guys have been fans, Drew and Jeff, for a while. He went to Houston last year. They were bummed he was on the DL when they came here, but he's here now. You'll be able to say hello to him. And by the way, guys, they're Facebook friends with the entire Lindstrom family from Idaho, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah, they found us on Facebook, and he seems to have a great family, too, so he's a real cool guy. We love him, man. Hopefully he gets to warm up and come in the game tonight.
Well, I found it, Drew and Jeff, the Matt Lindstrom fan club. It still exists here. You got to get some Rockies jerseys, though. All right? I know the
Marlins.
All right.
Yeah, if Lindstrom comes in, we'll definitely...
Well, Anibal Sanchez strikes out the Rockies pinch hitter Ryan Spilborghs. 1 out, and that'll bring up Dexter Fowler. Matt Lindstrom's a great kid. He enjoyed his time in Florida, but he really loves being in Colorado, where he's joined the team where he happens to reside. He's spent the last 4 years in the offseason in Colorado anyhow.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that way very often. Plus, you have an opportunity to play for a team that has a chance to go to the playoffs. That's the other good thing about it. Lindstrom, last 5-6 appearances, it's been lights out.
And Dexter went around 1-1.
Sanchez is picking up the miles per hour now later on in the ball game. There's a couple times now as he's been at 94. Early in the game it was 90, 91.
A lot of swings and misses early in the count for Fowler, though he's drawn a couple of walks, almost as if he's having trouble picking up the baseball.
Well, it's moving late too. That's the other thing.
And you're right, he's been 94, 94, 95 now. Rockies without a hit. Sometimes up here, Huey, it's a whole different deal in being where you were in the batter's box. Sometimes up here you can look and you go, this guy's got unhittables. We'd see with Randy Johnson, you see with a guy like Josh Johnson, with Ubaldo Jimenez. You haven't really felt that way, though that's strike 3 with Anibal Sanchez. But you're right on the money because he's getting stronger.
Well, and I think back to the game the other night against Tim Lincecum. That was a game that he had stuff that you thought, uh-oh, this could be a no-hitter night. Sanchez has not started out that way, although he could kind of sniff it now. He's saying, okay, I'm feeling good. The shoulder's good. I'm getting a lot of movement, a lot of swings and misses on the baseball.
Johnny Herrera with 2 outs.
The other thing, too, is if you're thinking, okay, well, somehow you get Sanchez out of the ball game to get to the Marlins bullpen, but their bullpen has been very good this year as well.
The bullpen's been the best in baseball, perhaps. They have a 1.80 ERA.
Opponent's batting average against just a little over 181.
Look at that graphic.
But that all ties in together with their starter and their bullpen.
3-2. Slider, and Anibal Sanchez has struck out the side in the 6th. He has 7 punch outs, 4 in a row. On, the most accomplished U.S. women's skier of all time, taking in the Rockies and Marlins tonight. She visited the booth when we were in Chicago last year.
Well, what a special treat that was. To be able to have an Olympic gold medalist come up and talk about the Rockies, of course, from Vail.
World champion. I know what she's saying. Let's get the offense going, right?
Yeah, let's shut the Marlins down this inning and try to get back to Sanchez next inning.
Matt Belisle's on the hill. Emilio Bonifacio takes ball one. 5 innings of work for Yoli Chassin, and obviously his roughest outing of the year. He gives up 4 runs in those 5 innings.
95 pitches also. Matt Belisle's had 5 days off now after throwing the 2 innings against the Cubs back on the 17th. 48 pitches during that time, so Jim Tracy was hoping he would be able to give him a little bit of a rest during the Giants season or series, and he was. And the off day yesterday helped put him right back out there tonight.
Good pitch. Bonifacio gone. And that'll bring up Sanchez. You don't think they'll pinch hit for him here, do you?
You can always hope. He just threw the fastball by him. Chris was able to catch it right where he wanted it.
Oh, it's our Toyota Talk inning. Snuck up on us tonight. Florida up 4-1.
Blame it on the humidity?
Well, you know what? The humidity's not bad tonight.
No, last year we were here in July. It was humid then.
A lot of people root for the Rockies to get the bats going naturally. Can't wear purple every ball game. Nope. Sanchez went around. 2 outs. Hello, Rexburg, Idaho.
Hello.
And that's the hometown of Matt Lindstrom.
I agree, Peter. Let's get some hits.
Another shout out from Rexburg. Brad, you know what? There's a question about Brad Emis, and people are saying, Brad Emis, who's that guy? Oh, wait, did he play for the Mets this year a little bit? He did. He was a Rule 5 selection from Toronto. The Mets sent him back to Toronto yesterday, and then the Rockies and Blue Jays did a trade, and Emis has come to the Rockies, but he'll be sent to the minor leagues, and this is not a move that's going to impact the Rockies' major league roster. And the pitcher the Rockies sent to Toronto, Chris Malone, who is at Double-A. Originally a 36th round pick of the Dodgers. That's the deal that was alluded to on Toyota Talk.
It was a good pitch out throw to get Bonifacio.
Here's the 1-2 on Coghlan, and he fouls it off. Johnny Hero, Johnny Sparkplug. His fan base grows every day.
We'll play on word with Dexter's Midnight Runners.
Ground ball to Johnny Sparkplug, and he throws out Chris Coghlan. Matt Belisle works a 1-2-3-6. We'll go to the 7th. It's getting late. The Rockies are the middle of their order, looking for hit number 1. But the story is that little 0 above the 7 in the box score. The Rockies have been held hitless for 6 innings by Anibal Sanchez. Now, if you go back to the Lincecum game earlier in the week, in the 7th inning, he had a no-hitter. It was broken up by the guy who's got a bat in his hand right now, Carlos Gonzalez. Carlos has been a strikeout victim twice in the game, trying to get untracked here in the early going of the 2011 season.
This is going to be the inning. 3rd time through the lineup. See Sanchez.
Not going to happen here. He pulled an outside pitch. 1 out. That's a great example when you know your timing's off. That pitch was probably off the plate away, and he just hooked it.
We saw him pull a ball foul earlier in tonight's ball game. Those are the little subtleties as a hitter that you know that it's not working for you.
Frustrating times right now for Cargo. But the good news is he's probably won the Rockies a couple of games with his glove, and he's also driven in 12 runs despite the fact that he is yet to get untracked offensively. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. See a Wells Fargo banker today for details. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC, and the hook is a strike. Sanchez just picked up momentum. Now he's throwing everything for strikes, the whole arsenal. He rarely throws the curveball.
Yeah, but he can feel it, and now he's in such a rhythm that he's ready to pitch the ball and get going because he has an idea of what he wants to do.
This is back off of Sanchez. He's got a hustle. He's going to go to the bag himself. 2 outs.
And this is a sure base hit right back up the middle. So it goes off the leg of Sanchez, and then wouldn't you know it, it kicks right towards first base. That ball was scorched. And then rather than worrying about the flip, he just takes it himself. And I know they're going to go out and check to see if he's okay, but after making a play like that where it goes off the outside part of your leg and then still have the smarts to pick it up and then run over and touch the bag yourself, he's fine. He catches him right on the right leg. Not Sanchez still thinking that he had a play on that. Most guys would just give up.
So with 2 outs, Helton at the plate.
Well, it's not a pretty sight right there, the 0.
Yeah, it just tells you how hard this game is. Twice in 1 week, the Rockies have been in the late innings with a 0 in the hit category. And yet they have the best record in baseball at 13-5, and they have, again, one of the top offenses on paper in baseball. Crowd now reacting, and anything close isn't called a strike. 1-1.
There were 6 no-hitters thrown in last year's, including Roy Halladay in the NLDS game.
Boy, that looked close also. Changeup evidently low. 2-1. Looking at the Ford strike zone. Second pitch definitely missed. That pitch was at the knees. Again, Anibal Sanchez threw a no-hitter back in September of 2006 against the Diamondbacks. So this is not unfamiliar territory.
There have been 269 no-hitters in Major League history.
And ball 4. Here's how crazy this game is. The Rockies don't have a hit. But if Seth Smith runs into one here, it's a one-run game.
Well, and they're also tops right now in the National League, and most come from behind victories. They have 9 on the season, so it's not like they haven't been in this place before. The only difference is now they're getting no hit. But still, you're still another walk or maybe another error, a bloop, and a blast, and the ball game's tied up.
Yeah. And Seth Smith came into this ball game 4 for 5 lifetime against Sanchez. Called out on strikes and a line drive to first. And if somebody's had your number, even if it's only a handful of at-bats, nobody knows it more than the guy on the hill.
And the guy in the box knows that he has his number too. So that's a good feeling for Seth Smith to be at right now.
Didn't pull the trigger, was out of the zone, 2-0.
This is the few times tonight Sanchez has fallen behind. He did a little bit early in the ball game, then found that rhythm. And after the walk to Helton, falling behind 2-0 to Seth Smith. Good place to be as a hitter. Look for a fastball. A good swing on him.
Big cut, no baseball, 2-1.
Well, he got the fastball that he wanted. It was just the upper part of the zone. Seth was more of a low ball hitter.
Three and 1. Sanchez much better in his last outing against Philadelphia. 2 runs in 6 innings. His outing against Houston was a disaster. He gave up 13 hits in 4 2/3 innings. Tonight, not a one. And Seth may have pulled off that one a little bit. 3 and 2, thinking long ball.
Well, and you get anxious in this situation because you don't want to get no hit, and you haven't had a hit yet tonight. So as a hitter, you're thinking, I'm going to be the guy, and then your swing starts to get too big.
Buck wants a fastball away. Strike 3 on Seth Smith. He's got a no-hitter through 7. in the first inning. The Rockies were ahead 1-0, and the second pitch from Yoli Chacin was hit out of the ballpark by Chris Coughlin, his second homer of the year. In the third inning, Gabby Sanchez hit one out, also his second of the year. And the story of the game has been Anibal Sanchez, staked to a 4-1 lead. He has struck out 8 in the ball game. And he has not allowed a hit through 7 innings, and now nobody's going near him. Here in the bottom of the 7th, Omar Infante's at the plate. Felipe Paulino, the new pitcher for the Rockies. Infante, Hanley Ramirez, Gabby Sanchez. C.D. Buckner has a small zone tonight. That pitch looked like it was a strike. However, the last pitch of the last inning looked low, and he called Seth Smith out on it. Bob Apodaca, Tommy Runnels, Jim Tracy not happy. You can see.
And they'll give him a little bit of the Bronx cheer. CB just a moment ago was yelling in there saying it was outside the pitch before that.
And Carney Lansford just shaking his head. And a line drive to right for a base hit. 2-hit night for Infante, who hit .321 last year with the Atlanta Braves. That led the Braves in hitting. Hanley Ramirez 0 for 3 tonight. With runners at second and third in the second inning, he had a line shot right at Troy Tulowitzki. One and one. Good pitch. Yeah, a little bit in. 2-1. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass. The number is 303-287-5000, or go to safelight.com.
The pitch must have been in just a little bit, because the way Chris held it and framed it looked like it got the inside corner.
Another good slider from Paulino.
You take away those numbers that Felipe had against the Cubs when he allowed 5 runs in just a third of an inning. That's where his ERA jumped up, and it's going to take him a long time to get it back down after that outing.
Runner going, and safe at seconds Infante as Ramirez struck out. Now, did the bat contact Iannetta? CB Buckner's walking out. Edwin Rodriguez is already going to argue. They're going to call interference on Ramirez and bring the runner back to first base. Yep. Infante is going to go back to first base. Ramirez must have interfered after the swing.
Well, this will give us a great look at it. Oh, yeah. That's what it was. He just crossed in front of home plate. It has nothing to do with the bat or anything like that, folks, but you got to, once you swing, you have to be in control of your body, and that just interfered with Chris's ability to throw down to second. That's as easy a call as CB's going to have for interference. Ramirez just walking across.
Gabby Sanchez with a base hit up the middle. Actually, runners called out at second base. Runners called out at second base. I thought he just had to come back.
You know what? I think he has to come back if the bat hits him.
That's the difference. So there's 2 outs. Sanchez at first, Mike Stanton at the plate, 1 for 3.
Yeah, if it's just incidental contact with the bat, then the guy goes back to first base. But since there was that blatant getting in front of the catcher, then he's called out.
Three and 0 on Mike Stanton. And that misses, ball 4. Now they're 2 on for John Buck. Take a look at our Excel Energy high efficiency inning. Matt Belisle last inning, a 1-2-3 inning, including a couple of punch outs. In relief of Yolis Chassin. It's brought to you by Excel Energy. Learn how you too could be efficient when it comes to your energy and visit responsiblebynature.com. So Paulino with 2 aboard, 2 outs. John Buck, a walk and 2 fly balls to center field. (4-1) Florida. The Marlins with 9 hits. The Rockies without a hit, with 6 outs of offense left in regulation.
That's why you have to make sure they don't get a run here. You're still in the ball game, just down by 3 runs. I know you haven't gotten a hit. You've hit a couple balls hard. Sanchez also over the 100 pitch limit now. 113 in his last outing.
A reminder, the Toyota postgame show to follow, and Toyota Talk will continue throughout the postgame show, so you can join in by texting Toyota followed by a space and then your thoughts and questions to 720-720. Paulino just misses there. It's 2-1. John Buck, an all-star last year with Toronto, his first all-star appearance.
Buck got out of Kansas City. Olivo got out of Kansas City. I mean, there was some talk last year that both those guys could have been all-stars.
Yeah, that was the amazing thing. The Royals had both of those guys splitting duties 2 years ago. Both depart, and both, I mean, Olivo in his first half last year should have been a National League All-Star. Buck was an All-Star in the American League. Royals off to a good start. This is on the ground to short. Tulowitzki on the move. He does that better than anybody in the game. We'll go to the 8th. The story is Anibal Sanchez. He has a no-hitter. Rockies looking to break it up. Rockies trying to rally, but it's got to begin, you would think, with a hit. They've been blanked for 7 innings. And Ty Wigginton takes high ball 1. Wigginton, Iannetta, and then a pinch hitter. The pinch hitters available: Jose Lopez, Jason Giambi, Jose Morales. Lopez would be the most likely here in the 8th inning, you would think.
Well, unless a couple guys got on, and then it might be Giambi and take your one shot at him here.
That's a good point. If there's some traffic, you probably see the big man. Lopez right now with a bat, starting to stretch.
The good thing is the tunnel is not very far from the dugout here at the stadium, so you can go back and take a few cuts, come back, watch the game a little bit. Jason's ready in case, along with Lopez.
2-2. Slider, and that ball's left up. It's hitting the air to deep left center, but Coughlin's got it. 1 out in the 8th. Time for the Home Depot doing more on defense. Good throw by Iannetta on the pitch out as he cuts down Emilio Bonifacio. Perfect throw from Chris. Pitch out well executed. Our Home Depot doing more on defense. Here's Iannetta with 1 out. Comebacker and a strikeout for Chris, and a check swing, foul ball. Some people who had a poor angle on that in the stands were gasping because they thought that that was going to drop for a hit on a check swing.
Just in case, Clay Hensley and Michael Dunn, the right-hander and left-hander, warming up for the Marlins now.
And a 2-strike count on Iannetta. '27-year-old Anibal Sanchez from Maracay, Venezuela. Signed as a teenager by the Boston Red Sox. Good eye from Chris. It's 2-2. The pitch count at 112. That's irrelevant right now. Edwin Rodriguez is going to let him go, obviously. Swung on and missed. 2 outs. That is strikeout number 9 as well for Sanchez.
It went slider, wanted it away, and actually backed up and hung to the inside part of the plate. Sometimes a hanging slider gets hit a long ways. Other times it's fouled off right into the glove.
And that backed up.
Yeah, and that's why you miss it, because as a hitter, you're thinking, I'm going to get it out front.
Jose Lopez is the pinch hitter in the 9-hole. And a flare that's caught by by Infante. And Anibal Sanchez is going to take a no-hitter to the 9th inning here at Sun Life Stadium in Florida. First batter's Chris Coughlin, and he hits the ball out the bottom of the 1st inning on the 2nd delivery from Yoli Chacin, his 2nd home run of the year. It's our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. There have been no blasts from the Rockies tonight. They don't have a single against Anibal Sanchez. He has a no-hitter that he'll take to the 9th inning. The Marlins leading 4-1. Rockies got a run in the 1st on a walk, a pass ball, and then ultimately an error that scored Dexter Fowler. The Rockies had a 1-0 lead. You don't often talk about a guy taking a no-hitter into the 9th inning, and that the team he's pitching for actually has come from behind in the ball game. Franklin Morales will throw the bottom of the 8th inning. Scott Cousins, Emilio Bonifacio, and Anibal Sanchez. And Morales, his first pitch in there for a strike. Belisle, an inning of work, 1-2-3. Paulino gave up a couple of hits and a walk, struck out a batter, did not allow a run. All 4 runs charged to Yoli Chacin, who came in with a 1.64 ERA. Marlins have played well early this season, like the Rockies. 11-6 coming in, tied with the Phillies atop the NL East at the knees. The Rockies in the 9th inning will have the top of their order. Dexter Fowler, Johnny Herrera, Carlos Gonzalez.
You could even go back to that Jonathan Herrera hit and run that went right to the glove of Hanley Ramirez for the double play.
You know, truly, whenever you have these situations, you look back and say, okay, was there a great defensive play? Who hit the ball hard? Who hit an atom ball? And Johnny Herrera on a hit and run hit a hard ground ball that most times is a base hit up the middle, except the shortstop Hanley Ramirez had coverage. He's breaking into the bag, and he said, thank you very much. That's a base hit, right?
Yeah,
no, Ramirez breaking into the bag.
Yeah, one hopper. And then how about the Tulo play back in the 7th inning? This ball was hit hard right back up the middle, and then it deflects right to first base where Sanchez is able to pick it up and go to the bag. I mean, those are the little things that you're talking about. And, of course, the line drive. That one wasn't as much as the other two.
That was a broken bat, soft liner. And Infante got the good jump on it. Bonifacio at the plate right now. But those other two balls hit up the middle were hit hard. But listen, there's not a no-hitter without a couple of good defensive plays or a couple of atom balls.
Well, Helton hit one back in the 1st inning, right to Bonifacio at 3rd. I'm just trying to go back through my book and kind of look to see different plays. I mean, Seth Smith hit a line drive to first, but just those two plays from Tulowitzki and Herrera, those are the two that just jump out at me.
But honestly, there have not been many.
No.
And the thing about Sanchez is he has gotten better and better as this ball game's worn on.
Stronger, harder fastball, more bite on his breaking pitch.
Center field. He has 6 strikeouts in the last 4 innings. 6 of his 9 strikeouts in the last 4 innings, if that gives you any idea. Ecotech game summary brought to you by Ecotech Institute in Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. Chacin allowed a couple of home runs tonight, the first 2 he's allowed this year. And Anibal Sanchez has not allowed a hit through 8 innings. Rockies down 4-1. Here's Sanchez, and he heard it from the sparse gathering tonight.
And you know what I'd do if I was Sanchez? I wouldn't even attempt to swing the bat right here.
So you don't pull a muscle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and take your pitches. If he strikes me out, so what if something else happens? But I don't want to risk maybe getting a jam shot that hurts my thumb when I have to go out and pitch next half inning.
One and two. Swung on and missed. So Sanchez not worried about his offense. He's worried about the next 3 hitters. He'll take a no-hitter to the 9th. Baseball brought to you by Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. And by Jack in the Box right now, get the All-American Jack combo with fries and a drink for only $4.99 plus tax. Sun Life Stadium in South Florida. And the story right now is Anibal Sanchez. He has a no-hitter through 8 innings. It'll be Dexter Fowler to lead it off as we check in with Alana Rizzo for a preview of tonight's Toyota postgame show.
All right, Drew, thanks very much. Coming up on the Toyota postgame report, we're talking about lead-off pop. 2 early home runs to lead-off innings helped the Rockies get behind very quickly. And, of course, Anibal the Animal, Anibal Sanchez, the animal today, has a no-hitter going on into the 8th inning. And, of course, Mark Stout gets you on the field and into the clubhouse as the Rockies talk about this very tough first game of a 3-game set, Drew.
All right, Alana, thank you very much. And don't forget, Toyota Talk will continue during the entire postgame show as well. So Sanchez is set to go. Dexter Fowler walked and scored in the first. He walked again in the third. And he was caught looking in the 6th. And this is going to be a base hit. And now Dexter, thinking about moving up, stops right there. A broken bat, base hit to right. Omar Infante couldn't get there, and a standing ovation, well deserved, for Anibal Sanchez, who is hoping to throw his 2nd career no-hitter. Dexter Fowler said, I'm not getting deep in the count.
No, go ahead. Sometimes what the rule of thumb sometimes is I'm going to take till I get a strike, but the way Sanchez has been working ahead of the hitters, Dexter said, I'm going to go swing at the first pitch. Ball was in, missed his location, broke his bat. But Dexter's reaction says it all. Once he sees this ball getting by Infante, you could have said, well, why didn't Infante dive? Well, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because Dexter, the way he runs, would have beat it out.
John Buck doing the wise thing, went out to make sure that Sanchez had his emotions in check, because John Buck realizes this is a 3-run game. Somebody else gets on, you're in the middle of the Rockies order, and you're looking at one swing tying it up. And Edwin Rodriguez now at this point is going to have a very short leash.
Well, this will probably be his last hitter if something happens, because that's why he got Leo Nunez, their closer, up right away. And John Buck, as you mentioned, went out there to kind of calm him down a little bit, but also allow Leo to get some pitches off the mound down in the bullpen.
On Johnny. Gonzalez on deck. Rockies had been no-hit twice. Al Leiter of Florida did it. And of course Hideo Noma.
This will definitely be Sanchez's last hitter.
You got Mike Dunn, I assume, still throwing down there. Is it just Nunez now?
Just Nunez. And the reason I say that is because this next pitch will be number 120. And if Jonathan somehow were to get on, you don't want Sanchez to have to face Carlos for a 4th time.
That could drop. A great catch, and they're going to get a double play at first. Dexter Fowler. Doubled off on the nice grab by Scott Cousins. Boy, that's a huge play. I mean, you're talking about 1 out and a runner on first with the major part of your order coming up. Clearly, the catch is made. Ball stayed in the palm of the glove.
Let's see if when this ball hits his glove, when he turns it over, is it trapped right there? Really tough to say, but the umpire at third who makes that call, he immediately signaled that was an out.
Gonzalez. 2 strikeouts and a bouncer to second. And a ground ball to first. And that's the ball game. What a performance by Anibal Sanchez. He didn't get his no-hitter. He got a 1-hit complete game. And the Marlins win the ball game 4-1. As they take game 1, it was awesome from Sanchez's perspective. They take game 1 of this 3-game set. And at least for a night, Jeff Houston, the Rockies' woes down here continue.
Well, and a lot of it has to do with Sanchez, the way he pitched tonight. Release wasn't at the top of his game, gave up some runs early on. Was it not a good night for the Rockies?
It was a terrific night for Anibal Sanchez. Today's delivery of the game brought to you by Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. He got stronger as the evening wore on. He ends up with 9 strikeouts and 1 hit allowed. That the 9th inning broken bat. Soft line drive that found its way through the right side of the infield from Dexter Fowler. Final score, the Marlins 4 and the Rockies 1. We invite you to stay tuned for the Toyota postgame show.